does Warren County Education Association. Is there any report to give Education Association this meeting? Next item is discussion of KEEPS Energy Program. So, anyone here to do a presentation?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much, Mr. Patterson, for allowing me to come. Speak about the second largest line item in your budget, and that's energy. And I'm happy to report, as you look over some of these reports, and we'll go through it here. What I've done is I've gone back through the past 4 years to kind of give you a track record of the city, 4 years of students and their staff and all that they're doing. Any of y'all see this in the paper last week? You know what this is?
Oh, yeah, I know what that is.
I'm going to a meeting tomorrow in Frankfurt. They're proposing an application of 31% increase. Now, we'll get to here and show you some of the figures, what's that going to do to us. That's approximately $150,000 additional charge. So it's an area where, you know, we constantly can't be able to bring things in. I had the opportunity to speak about 9 months ago down at the PSC meeting in Louisa, where they were talking about closing the plant and wanting to turn into structures and things of that nature. Had the opportunity to talk to 3 of the commissioners, and I said, look, I represent $90 million taxpayers' money and over 6,000 students. And I said, our students have been able to save close to $1 million in the last 3 years. I need your help. So I kind of dead silence. We know the outcome of that. They pull the application and things of that nature. Well, tomorrow they're going to do a similar thing. Just hit the paper on July the 3rd. The meeting's tomorrow on the 10th in Frankfurt. So I'll be one of the few people who will be up there to be able to speak part of education and stuff like that, to say that we can afford to do this. There's just no way. We got to come up with some other way to do it. But anyhow, I've got a report together here for you. Juice News is kind of a newsletter type logo that we have. And I've got some things here we want to focus on. If you turn over, there's the agenda, something I'm going to talk about. I'm going to try to take your time. This is a packet that I put together so you guys can look through it. But I wanted you all to know, some of you I know that are new to the program as far as energy, but on this one right here, you'll see, according to House Bill 2, Section 16, it was signed into law on April 24, 2008, requiring all public school districts to enroll in energy management program by 2010. Now, what we had done, I'm an energy manager. I represent Johnson, Lawrence, Haines Flemington schools in U-Haul right now in this area. When we went through this program, it was through the stimulus money for 2 years, you know, the KEEPS program. Now it's no longer the KEEPS. What we're actually doing is just, you guys are allowing me to come in to work with your students and staff and things like that to lower your costs. But back then it was mandated. It's still mandated today. So one of the things that I had to do was go back, and on the next page you will see, I give you an energy recap here on electrical and gas over the last 4 years. And luckily we had the data that we were all keeping here on a spreadsheet, Excel spreadsheet. So what I had to do is go back 4 years back to be able to calculate all that, to actually see where we're at. And as you'll see on there, you'll get a breakdown from 2009, 10, 2011, and you'll see how much. And particularly in that first column, you see a $500,000 increase. You know why that was? You know what? That was the year that they raised our rates 17%. They asked for 27 and got 17. So you can see what it cost the district additionally. Almost $500,000 that year when they did that. That's what I'm concerned about right now about tomorrow and things. But
we actually used less electricity.
yes, sir. That's the point I get to right here.
Yeah.
What would it have been if we had used the same kilowatt hours as we had used the previous year? It would have cost this school district $1 million. But that's hats off to the staff and the students for being conscious and awareness. They were only lost that, as you can see. So they saved half of the cause right there. It could have been a whole lot worse if we hadn't conserved and they hadn't been minded and they had awareness. You can see in the other years as we go down here, everything that's highlighted in yellow is an improvement over the previous year. What we do is we set a benchmark of what we do last year on cost and usage, and what are we going to do this year. So that's comparable for all 4 years, as you can see down there. Every year since that first increase, we've showed improvement in doing that. So How do you do that? And these are the reports that we have to send into DEP. Every year, I have to accumulate these reports. When I first came here, back last July, we had not done any reports. We were not compliant. So I had to go back through 3 years of data, get all that stuff together, just to get us compliant with the House bill law that we had right here. We are now compliant. This year, we'll have a report in by October, and we'll be compliant again as well. There's one other thing that we must do according to the law, and that is adopt a district energy policy and plan. That's on your next page right here, after all those reports that I showed you. And what that means is this is a report and a plan basically that I've done with all the other 3 districts. It's this one right here. Looks like that. On here you can see some of the people that's a part of the district energy team. And you can see they're from various parts there. We have Mr. James there as assistant superintendent. We have school principals on there. We have financial people. And Mr. Mose, I took the liberty, I'm sorry, to put your name on there, because we have the past people there. But we need a board representative on that district energy team to be able to do some things, so you guys can decide that amongst yourselves. But this is something, according to law, that we must do, according to House bill. We have to adopt this. So what I've done is basically taken a plan that all the other 3 districts that I've been a part of have approved. You can look through there, and I'd love for you to, because what we're talking about is HVAC standards, like in each building, temperature setbacks, when are we going to do switchovers, things of that nature, because all that has a tremendous impact on what we're actually spending in dollars and when we're doing that throughout the year. So please look at this. If you got any suggestions, any things you'd love to change, we've done that with every district, but we must have this to be compliant and be in line with all the law. On the next thing, you'll see here, basically the energy program that we have is called the Juice Crew. And what that is, on this page, you'll see right there. The Juice Crew is energy teams that every one of the schools have gotten together. Every year they change. So we have to have 6 to 8 to 12 students come together. And what they do basically is very simple. 40% of our energy cost is in lighting. For every 2 hours of unoccupied light in a classroom costs you $50 a year. Texas Surveys did that back in the 80s. When they went in and had kids go around with a checklist just to make sure the lights were on, it saved the state of Texas $14 million. It saved our students in the last 3 years over $1 million in the 4 districts that I had. So I guess you can see the relevance here. We were talking a moment ago about certified physicians. This program is to save those jobs. We've got to. Had we not been able to do that, particularly with the success that you all had, layoffs or whatever would have been even worse. But y'all, we've got to look at that number 2 line budget. In Atlanta, Georgia, they laid off 500 teachers because they couldn't pay the light bill. So this is an area, what I'm saying to you as a board, to show the relevance of that can have a tremendous bearing on number 1, which is personnel. The kids are doing this and doing great. Every year we have to re-int the program. We have to go out and orientate a bunch of new kids, things of that nature. But it's also a self-esteem builder. It has character building within the students themselves. And it's something that they're able to participate in their school knowing they're saving money for their district, rather than maybe going to a ball game or whatever. We've had some kids that's really done a great job. But that's the program there. You can look over there if you have any questions about that. What I'll do throughout the year, we'll be sending newsletters. These are just examples of some of the things. I said, what's a CFL? It's not a sports league. It's a ball, so it kind of educates them. We in Martin County now are also a Energy Star partner. And what that means is we're one of 100 and some districts out of 174 in the state of Kentucky that is committed to save at least 10% over the next 5 years. So you'll see that there, the partnership that we have there, and all I have to do is put in the middle signature with some of that in, but we are looked at as an Energy Star partner right now. We have programs that we do throughout the years that involve the students, and you'll see one right here. October is National Energy Month, and every other year I usually have them go out and count the light bulbs in the school. Now you may think, well, that's no big deal, Terry, but it really is, because moving from a T12 bulb, which they no longer make them since last July, and ballasts and all those type of things, we have a lot of our schools that still have those old T12s. Give you an example, just recently, for the last year and a half, I've been crowing up in Johnson County. We got Meade Memorial out there. I know it's a Class 5 school, but I'm telling you, it's gonna cost $30,000 to re-lamp that place because there's no more bulbs. They haven't made them for a year and a half. I would hate to come to the board and say, I need $30,000. Well, guess what? It just came back, and we have to do that now. But luckily, I got it under the deadline because AEP offers a lot of incentive programs. In Lawrence County alone, last year, we did a performance contract. We changed every light in every school. We changed every water fixture. We changed HVAC units. It cost us $3.8 million. But in the first 6 months of their contract, they saved over $140,000. Lawrence County didn't have any money, though. The performance contract is a way for them to be able to do that and get their buildings up to scope of what they do. But we do things like this, so it's important for those kids to count those bulbs and know what they're going to save and all that. We do an energy forum every fall. We'll bring people in to be able to speak to us on how we can save money, how we do that. We also do a energy fair every year where we invite the students to come up and they participate. We have vendors be able to apply scholarships. They won first place, and we have elementary, middle school, and high school divisions. If they win that, they get $250, $100, and $50 for third place. So it's kind of a little season-ending thing, saying thank you for what you've done for the year. Bring you a good energy project, and you have a chance to win some money as a scholarship. So those are things we do. One of the things I'm really excited about is just this year in January, and I'm implementing it right now. There is a software program called School Do.